For years, people in Umilk whispered the same name with caution, as though uttering it too loudly could summon trouble. Achalugo. A woman whose beauty faded early from the weight of her bitterness, whose sharp tongue could slice through bone, and whose pride towered taller than the ancient Iroquois trees that guarded the village boundaries. Everyone knew her. Nobody wanted to offend her. Her sons loved her, but even they feared the hurricane that lived behind her eyes. And yet, 3 years earlier, something had happened that the whole village still couldn't understand. Her first son, Obiora, had brought home a wife, Amara. A soft-spoken beauty whose smile felt like sunrise, whose steps carried peace, and whose heart knew patience the way fish knew water. She was young, gentle, newly in love, and excited to become a daughter-in-law. But when she walked into Achalugo's home, she had unknowingly entered the battlefield. From the very first week, Achalugo began her silent war. The insults were small at first, woven innocently into morning greetings. Amara, your kind of beauty fades quickly, try and use more shea butter. Is this how they cook in your village? No wonder your mother didn't get a husband early. These plates are not properly washed. Or do your people wash plates with river sand? Then the insults grew bolder. She would call Amara at 4 a.m. to scrub the whole compound, because Obiora deserves a wife who works like a real woman. She would deliberately hide things and accuse Amara of losing them. She would silently pour away soup that Amara spent hours preparing only to tell Obiora, your wife cannot cook to save her life. I'm just saving both of you from stomach problems. Obiora complained sometimes, but Achalugo always had tears ready. So you choose your wife over your mother, she would cry dramatically. And Obiora, raised by fear of breaking his mother's heart, would withdraw into silence. But Amara never complained. Not once. She endured everything. She cooked, cleaned, smiled, served, prayed, and still treated Achalugo with respect, not because Achalugo deserved it, but because Amara was raised to love even when it hurt. 3 years passed, and still she said nothing. People around them noticed. They knew Achalugo's nature, and they admired Amara deeply, but nobody dared confront the mother-in-law whose name commanded dread. Then, 6 months ago, Achalugo's younger son, Jidenna, decided to marry. And this wife, was nothing like Amara. Her name was Princess, tall, slim, elegant, and with a confidence that made her look taller than she was. She walked like someone who knew her worth and added tax. She had a tongue sharper than a blade but coated with honey. And most importantly, Princess was not afraid of anybody. Not even Achalugo. Not even a little. So when the wedding was over and the celebrations had come, it didn't take long for rumors to reach Princess's ears. Rumors about how Achalugo treated her first daughter-in-law like a slave. Princess never said anything. She only smiled. But deep inside, she made herself a promise. Let her try that nonsense with me. Just let her try it. She will learn the difference between a quiet river and an ocean. 6 months after their marriage, Achalugo decided it was time to inspect her younger son's home. In her mind, she expected Princess to be like Amara, quiet, obedient, and eager to serve. She was wrong. From the moment Achalugo arrived at Jidenna's house, she sensed something was off. Princess greeted her politely but with a straight face, no unnecessary smiles, no bowing her head like a timid goat, no nervousness. Achalugo narrowed her eyes. This one has mouth, she thought. Let me see if she can survive me. The first night, Princess served dinner. Achalugo tasted it, made a face, and pushed the plate away dramatically. This soup is tasteless. Princess looked at her calmly. Then maybe you should add salt. Achalugo blinked. Nobody had ever answered her like that. The next morning, Achalugo woke up expecting breakfast. After all, Amara always woke before dawn to feed her. But Princess was in the sitting room, legs crossed, watching Netflix with a bowl of cornflakes. Achalugo stood there, waiting to be acknowledged. Princess pressed pause, looked up sweetly, and asked, "Good morning, Mommy. Is everything okay? Where is my breakfast?" Achalugo snapped. "Oh!" Princess exclaimed, slapping her forehead lightly. You're hungry. The kitchen is that way. She pointed casually. Achalugo froze. What did you say? The kitchen. You can make whatever you want. I already cooked for my husband and myself. Achalugo's mouth dropped open like a faulty drawer. Never in her life had anyone spoken to her like that, not in her home, not outside it. She stormed into Jidenna's room that evening. Your wife has no home training, she cried. She refused to make me breakfast. But Jidenna was lying on the bed reading a book. So, he asked calmly. Achalugo gasped. So, she disrespected me. Jidenna closed his book. Mommy. Princess is my wife, not a maid. If she cooked for you, fine. If she didn't, please manage what you see. Nobody is here to serve anybody. Achalugo felt the ground tilt beneath her. Her own son. The boy she raised. Talking like this. Her heart boiled, but she stormed out. The next day, she tried to give Princess orders. Wake up early and sweep the entire house before preparing breakfast. No, Princess cut in without looking up from her phone. What do you mean by a no? Achalugo's voice rose. I mean no. I'm not your house girl. If you want the house swept, pick a broom. Achalugo nearly fainted. By the third day, she regretted visiting. By the fourth day, she started packing her bag. Princess didn't stop her. She only smiled politely and waved. Safe journey, mommy. It was the mockery hidden in the sweetness that finished Achalugo. When she returned home, she expected peace. But she couldn't sleep. Princess's confidence replayed in her mind like a movie. Her own son telling her to manage what she sees. And then. Amara. Sweet, quiet, gentle Amara. Amara who never disrespected her. Amara who endured pain without complaint. Amara who treated her like a queen despite the wickedness she received. Suddenly, regret struck Achalugo like thunder. For the first time in her life, she felt ashamed. Something she had never felt before. And she knew, deep down, that she had brought all this humiliation upon herself. Achalugo sat in her room that evening, staring at the wall. For the first time in decades, she felt small. Not the powerful Achalugo who people feared. Not the unshakable mother whose voice commanded respect. This version of her was humbled. Princess had broken something inside her, not out of wickedness, but out of the simple reminder that respect is a two-way street. She began to recall all the little moments with Amara. How the young woman always brought her food. How she washed her clothes without being asked. How she prayed for her. How she never once argued back. A lump formed in Achalugo's throat. When was the last time I told her thank you, she whispered to herself. She couldn't remember. She couldn't remember ever appreciating her. The shame burned her chest, and she knew she had only one choice left. She must go. And apologize. The next morning, the sun had barely risen when Achalugo found herself standing in front of Obiora's gate. Her palms were sweaty, a strange feeling for a woman who never feared confrontation. She knocked. Amara opened the door. The moment their eyes met, guilt slammed into Achalugo with full force. Amara looked surprised to see her, but she smiled softly. Mommy, good morning. Please come in. Achalugo swallowed. She stepped inside slowly, like someone walking into a church for the first time after sinning deeply. Where is Obiora? She asked. He's at work, Mommy, Amara replied. Good. This wasn't for Obiora. This was between her and the woman she wronged. Achalugo followed Amara to the sitting room. The house was neat, as usual. The aroma of fresh okra soup filled the air. Achalugo felt a sting of emotion. Amara was still serving. Still caring. Still loving. Even after everything. Sit down, Mommy, Amara said gently. Achalugo sat. And for the first time, she noticed how tired Amara looked. Not physically, but in the eyes. A quiet kind of exhaustion. The exhaustion of someone who had given love endlessly without receiving it back. And that broke Achalugo. Amara, she began, her voice cracking painfully, I came here today to beg you. The words hung in the air like thunder. Amara blinked. Confused. Mommy, beg me. Achalugo nodded, tears gathering in her eyes. I wronged you. I wronged you badly. For 3 years, I made your life difficult. I treated you like you were not my son's wife, like you were nothing. And you endured it all silently. You respected me. You served me. You never disrespected me even when I pushed you to your limit. Amara's eyes softened, but she remained silent. Achalugo continued. I went to visit Jidenna and his wife. She shuddered at the memory. Princess showed me fire. She is not you. She does not fear me. She treated me like someone who deserved no respect at all. And the worst part is, I deserved it. Finally, the tears fell. Amara gasped softly. Achalugo's voice trembled. In 3 days with Princess, I experienced what I gave you for 3 years. It was then I realized the kind of woman you are. You are patient. You are kind. You are respectful. And I abused that kindness. Silence enveloped the room. Amara's eyes misted with emotion. Mommy. But Achalugo raised a hand gently. No, let me finish. She took a shaky breath. I don't want to lose you. I don't want my grandchildren to grow up hearing stories of how wicked their grandmother was. I don't want my sons to resent me. And I don't want heaven to judge me harshly when I know I wronged an innocent woman. She wiped her eyes with the back of her hand. Please, forgive me. I am begging you. Amara stared at her, shocked, moved, uncertain. Her heart was soft, but the scars were real. After a long moment, she knelt in front of Achalugo and held her hands. Mommy, I forgave you a long time ago, she said quietly. Not because you asked, but because I didn't want bitterness to live in me. Achalugo broke down fully. Amara hugged her, not because Achalugo deserved it, but because Amara was Amara. A woman whose strength was gentle, whose love was healing. When Achalugo finally pulled back, she felt something lighten in her chest. Thank you, she whispered. Amara smiled. Let's start again, Mommy. Achalugo nodded eagerly. Yes, please. Later that day, Obiora returned from work to find the 2 women laughing in the kitchen, cooking together like mother and daughter. He froze at the door. Was he dreaming? Amara noticed him first and smiled. You're back. Achalugo turned to him with an embarrassed smile. Obiora. I apologize to your wife. Obiora's jaw dropped. Mommy. Are you serious? She nodded. I was wrong. Obiora felt his eyes sting. It was something he never expected to hear in his lifetime. Amara squeezed Achalugo's hand reassuringly. In that moment, peace settled into the home like sunlight breaking through clouds. 1 week later, Achalugo invited both of her sons and their wives for dinner at her house. Princess arrived confident as usual, but something in the air felt different. Achalugo served everyone food with her own hands. She thanked Amara openly. And she smiled genuinely. Princess raised an eyebrow. You've changed, she whispered to Achalugo privately. Achalugo smiled. Life changed me. Princess nodded in understanding. Amara, sitting quietly, watched her mother-in-law with a soft heart. And for the first time ever, she felt like she truly had a mother. That night, after everyone left, Achalugo sat alone outside her house, staring at the moon. I learned the hard way, she murmured, but I learned. And for the first time in a long while, she felt peace. Real peace. Because sometimes, life brings people like Princess to break you. So that you can finally appreciate the angels you once ignored.